Hello and welcome to the Lorna Marie Fitness Podcast, the show where we talk all things fitness, health, mindset and lifestyle to help you become fitter, healthier and happier. I help busy people who lack time, motivation and self-belief to look and feel great again. If you want to work with me, head over to lornamariefitness.co.uk, but for now, enjoy this episode. Hi everybody, say hello if you're there, or a hashtag replay if you are on the replay, and happy Tuesday. How's your week been? This weekend we did the retreat at Cannon Hall and it was amazing. And I think with those things, and it's what I said to Jo who came on the day, she said, I didn't realise how much I actually needed that. And I said, quite often you don't realise until you actually take the time out how much you really need something like that. And that's exactly what she said. And everyone just went away feeling amazing. And there was such lovely feedback, so much lovely feedback that we've actually decided to do it again. So if you're wanting to come along, we're doing a spring awakening theme. So to represent a new start, a fresh new start, a new chapter next year. I've tried to avoid the bank holidays because you know what April, May is like for bank holidays. So we're doing the 5th of April. We've only got so many early bird tickets and I actually sold 5. I actually sold 5 last night. I just said, comment below if you're interested, and boom, so many comments, and then 5 already gone. So I've got 5 left. I've got 5 early birds left. That we can only give out so many. So that is how many I've got left. If you are interested, come and join us. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be really, really good. So that's been going on. And then this weekend, we've got the squad do on Saturday. It's the bottomless brunch. If you are coming and you're feeling a little bit nervous because you don't really know anyone, please don't worry. You know me. Laura's going to be there. Catherine's going to be there. Sarah will be there. Will will be there. And a lot of people are coming on their own. So you're not alone, okay? We're one lovely family and everyone is going to welcome you with open arms. There's going to be so many people feeling in the same boat. Everyone is so lovely in our squad. And if they weren't lovely, well, they wouldn't be allowed in the squad. So, so you're all good. It's going to be really nice. And if you are missing out, don't worry, because we have the food bank collection on the 7th. And then we've got loads and loads of different things coming up. I have changed the events calendar just to update it. And I'll send it out in the Friday email as well. But I've just pinned it to the top of the Facebook group. If you go to the area that says featured, that's where I basically put all important stuff. So all the events are in there. If you like doing that kind of thing, because I appreciate it isn't for everybody. Now, today, the questions. We've got some really, really good questions. Oh, Sarah, you in? Hi, Sarah. We've got some really, really good questions. So I'm going to go from the top. We're going to be talking about healthy, filling breakfast. We're going to be talking about struggling with fitness in the winter, when it gets a bit darker. Foods that are calorie dense. Also talking about the best exercise to lose belly fat. How to combat negative self-image, which is something that crops up a lot this time of year, especially with Christmas parties coming up or New Year do's. And then talking about different kind of, probably some of the more physio questions, but I will answer within, what I can answer, the boundaries. What's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying. And just before we do get started on the questions, team, I have shared the Fuel Your Fitness recipe book this week. So this month is all about nutrition, having a bit of a nutrition focus. If you've not already, check out the ebook. And then this week I've dropped the recipe book. I'm going to be dropping 2 more things as well, so stay tuned. One about a healthy food shop and what that might look like, so your trolley, for example, and then another one about inflammatory foods. So stay tuned on that, and I really, really hope you're enjoying it. I've got a challenge coming up for Christmas for you, so stay tuned on that one. All right, so here we go. Question number 1. Ideas for healthy but filling breakfasts, no eggs, and snack ideas for a mid-afternoon slump. Now, team, if you've got any ideas that you want to add, please do add to this. I'm just going to add some from the top of my head. So filling breakfasts that don't have eggs. Greek yogurt would be a really, really good one. Remember, Greek yogurt, not Greek style. There's nothing wrong with Greek style yogurt, but if you're wanting to go for something filling and higher protein, I would go for actual Greek yogurt. And the best one that I found is, well, actually, no, I think it was either a Tesco or an Asda own brand, and it was like authentic style, or it could have been the Co-op. I don't know, but it was authentic, not authentic style, sorry, authentic Greek yogurt. And it's an alternative to Faye, which is spelt Fage, Fage. I pronounce it like Fage for ages. It's a bit like the quinoa quinoa situation, isn't it? I called it quinoa for so long. Anyway, it's that stuff. So make sure you get actual Greek yogurt. But with that, you could add berries, you could add chia seeds, you could add a sprinkle of granola, you could add all sorts to your Greek yogurt. But it's a great staple and a great place to start. And you've got things like overnight oats. You don't have to make them complicated. If you want, you could literally just add milk and leave it in the fridge. Or you might want to add milk and a bit of yogurt just so like it clumps together a bit nicer. Or you could add some berries in there. You could add some nuts in there. You could add some honey, whatever you want. And all you do is you prep it. Takes all of 30 seconds, and put it in the fridge overnight, and then it's there for the next morning. And you could even do a couple at a time if you wanted. But that's one idea. Another one would be porridge. I personally love porridge. I have it every single day without fail. I add protein powder to mine, but you can add whatever you want to porridge. Again, you can garnish how you want it, or you can keep it pretty plain, but that's a great filling breakfast. It'll keep you going, and it's like more of a slow release energy. If you have a look at the Fuel Your Fitness recipe book that I've shared, there's some ideas in there as well. And there are some non-egg ideas in there. So you've got a Greek yogurt parfait, and you've got a golden turmeric porridge, which is really nice. Really nice for anti-inflammatory as well, turmeric. The other two are eggs. But I'm going to give you some more examples. And also we have a couple more recipe books. If you go to the nutrition area, just to give you ideas. But ultimately, it's got to be what you enjoy having. Some people really like having smoothies or smoothie bowls for breakfast. Some people like having things like chicken sausages. But it depends on what you've got time for, really, and what you enjoy having. But they would be like my go-tos, if you like. But there are lots of different options. Even things like, there really isn't anything wrong with beans on toast. If you want some beans on toast, I would try and, go for the varieties that don't have added sugars or salts in them. But beans on toast, what about that? Or even something like crumpets with cottage cheese and tomato. And you could even use some of these, like the breakfast ideas, for snack ideas for a mid-afternoon slump. So I quite often have porridge in the afternoon. In fact, no, I quite often do. Honestly, I'm probably like the most boring person with my diet, but I do. And it really ties you over. It's a really, really good little snack. Or a sandwich. If you make a homemade sandwich, you can get a great mix in there, a great balance. You could do things like boiled eggs if you want to. You could have a protein bar. You could have some nuts. You could have, again, Greek yogurt. You could do the whole parfait idea. Any more team? Have you got any ideas on what you would have? I've got the comments up here. Or actually, is it better if I look on my phone? Even things like, I haven't actually done this, but I do know that they're nice. Stuffed dates. I haven't done that one. Another one that I've not done that I need to do is the frozen grapes thing. You put grapes in the freezer and you could have some nuts or fruit with that. Another idea which I do quite often is I will have seeded bread with peanut butter. I've already had that today. That was like my mid-morning, and a protein flapjack actually. So just different ideas. I always like to go for more seeded varieties, more whole grain varieties, seeded varieties, just because it gives your body more. Just gives your body more minerals. It's got more protein in, generally more fibre, but things like that. Or you can make your own energy balls, all sorts. I hope that's giving you loads of ideas though. Bit of a random one, but I massively struggle with my fitness in the winter, getting up early in the dark. Any tips? Now, you're not alone on this one for starters. It is a really common struggle every year. And what I would say is, one, You could do the 3-2-1 rule. So Mel Robbins, where she counts, or she count back from 5. Anyway, if you count backwards, it triggers something in your mind to action. It springs you into action. So if you're lying in bed and you're contemplating it, 3, 2, 1, and then all of a sudden you feel like you've got to do something, you've got to move. And it's that trigger. It makes something that is quite sort of passive, shall I shan't, into something active, right? Okay, let's go. So that's quite a good thing to do. So count backwards. Another thing is the alternative. So if you didn't get up and do your workout, how would you feel about that? Is it going to make you feel any better about the fact that the mornings are darker? And actually, does that mean then you don't get time to do your workout because then you have to go to work? And then you're not starting your day on the positive note that you like to start it on. So there's more food for thought. Another one is just do it. Just do it anyway, knowing that yes, it is difficult. And despite the fact it being difficult, I'm still making this decision to show up for myself. And I'm really proud of myself for doing that. So a bit introspective, thinking about why you're doing it, the alternative of what would happen if you didn't do it, and how you're so proud of the fact that you're still showing up for you. And the more you do that, the easier it becomes. So especially at the start of winter, we do wake up and it is dark and you feel like, oh my gosh, it's like the middle of the night. Yeah, it is a bit harder. Like our circadian rhythms, they're not necessarily programmed to be getting up when it's pitch black. So acknowledge the fact that it's harder and do it anyway, knowing that I'm going to be there, the other squaddies are going to be there, and we are in it together. And the more you do that, the easier it's going to get. Yes, it's hard right now, but just keep showing up, just keep doing it. Get it into your routine so it becomes a habit, and then something you just do. Your alarm goes off, you just get up and you go to your early morning workout, you get it done, you feel good, and by that point, the sun is starting to come up, you've done your workout and you're feeling good. Or if you find it really, really challenging and actually you really don't like it, have you got the flexibility to change it up? Could you go to the live replays in the evening, or could you do an on demand if it really bothers you? But it is difficult, but they would be my kind of top tips. But just know that the more you do it, the easier it gets, and we're all in it together. Another thing to make sure you get there is to be accountable. So 1, being accountable to you, putting it in your journal, but also number 2, every single day we put a post out on the members group. Now, we don't just do this for fun. I mean, well, it's kind of fun, but we do it because this is your opportunity to be accountable. There'll be the classes for the next day. What's your plan? Are you live? Are you on demand? Write it in the comments. You write it in the comments. You've told everybody and me and the whole of the LMF team that you're going to be there. You've got to be there. So that's another reason why, and that's what I would do. Be accountable to you and to everyone else here. So what I love to see is loads of comments on that 7 p.m. post every day. I love to see it because then I know that you're all being accountable. So you'll often see that I'll either comment on them, I'll love them more, but I'll acknowledge that I've seen it because I'm proud of you for doing it. All right, next one. I really don't like water. I need a bit of cordial in it, especially if I'm going to drink 2.5 litres. Is this okay? If it was just water, I would really struggle to do it. Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely fine. Like, weirdly, water isn't actually the most hydrating drink. Did you know that? If you Google it, the most hydrating drinks, I've forgotten where it's from now, but it's an actual, medically published journal, and it has a list of the most hydrating drinks, and milk is actually more hydrating than water. But water is great. I mean, our bodies are mainly made up of water, right? So water is very important. It is brilliant. But if you really, really don't like plain water, yeah, jazz it up. Why not put something in your water? Like the night before, you could make a big jug of water. You could add some lemon or lime, or you could put some berries in it, and then it's all there, and it's like a fruit infused one. Or you could pop some cordial in it. I would just say choose the one that has minimal ingredients and make sure, there's no added sugar. And it depends on your goals, really, doesn't it? You know, if you're on a weight loss journey, if you're on a fat loss journey, and then you're adding a load of almost like fruit style juice cordial to your water, you've got to think about that stacking up throughout the day as well. So it depends on what your goals are. But yes, that's fine. And also you do get some water from the food that you have as well. It's just very difficult to quantify that. The best indicator is the colour of your pee. You want to go for the very, very light, pale yellow colour. So if you go to the toilet and your pee isn't that colour, then we know what to do. You need to go and have a drink. Okay, ways to identify foods that are healthy but calorie dense. I think this is where I might be going wrong. Okay, so the best thing to do is, if you're worried about something being calorie dense, look on the packet. Look on the packet and look at the portion size. But what I would say as well is a lot of healthy foods, I mean, healthy, what does healthy mean? Everything in moderation. But a lot of, let's just say, nutrient dense foods can be high in calories. And this can be a bit of a problem, you know, when a lot of people say they go out to dinner or they go away on holiday and think, no, I'm going to be good, I'm going to order the salad. And depending on what's in the salad, it might be full of healthy stuff like avocado, nuts, seeds, olive oil dressing. It all stacks up. It all adds up. It depends on the portion size. But quite often those salads will be higher in calories, more calorie dense than, say, the burger on the menu, which you'd think is mental. But that doesn't mean it's a bad thing either. It just means that we just need to be aware of the portion sizes. Now, for fats, generally speaking, you can use your hand and you can say a palm size for protein, a fist for carbohydrates, and a thumb size for fats. So if you think, we were talking about the peanut butter, or you could even have almond butter on toast. You're thinking about a thumb size for your fat portion. I normally use a teaspoon. But generally things that say, things like nuts, like avocado, like seeds, like oils, you just need to be a little bit more mindful of the portion size, because fat is 9 calories per gram, protein is 4 calories per gram, carbohydrates are 4 calories per gram, alcohol is 7 calories per gram. So you can see there that healthy fats, they're not to be avoided because they're important for your hormones and they're important for your cell structure and so many other things. So they're not to be avoided. But you can see how it's important to also be mindful of the portion size. And I'd also be mindful of things that call themselves healthy. Question it. Generally speaking, does it come from the ground? Has it been made in a factory? Can you pronounce the ingredients? But that's probably my best advice with that one. But again, not to be worried about, not to be afraid of. The easy swaps that you could probably make are even things like dried fruit. You know, a big handful of dried fruit will be a lot more calorie dense than actually having the whole fruit. So maybe swapping to whole fruits instead of dried fruits. If you're having nuts or you're having oil on your salad, making sure that you look at the portion size and keeping it consistent, so then you've got something to track against. If you like things like avocado, I've had it before where a lot of people say, I don't understand, like I have avocado salad and they're popping a whole avocado on there. Well, that's going to be quite calorie dense. What about half an avocado or a quarter of one or something? Or a third of one or whatever. Just be mindful. Just be mindful. And if you're confused about what is healthy and what isn't healthy, have a look at the ebook. That will hopefully clear up a lot. And let me know if you've got any questions on it as well. Oh, another thing as well is, I've just written down here from earlier, syrups. Just be wary of things that say syrups. Quite often you might get cereal bars and the ingredients will be something syrup. It can all add up, and quite often they might be man-made as well. Not that that's bad. I definitely, in my protein flapjack this morning, there had been so many man-made ingredients. But it's all about moderation, right? Next question. I'm 5'2", 15.5 stone. It's no wonder I struggle to get off the floor. How do I improve this? I can miss a whole activity or yoga pose, 30-second movement while I'm trying to get up. My knees are the bit that hurts the most. Now, with this one, I would say make adjustments that suit your body for now. If we're doing really fast intervals, and you've got two options really. Take your time. This is your workout. If it takes slightly longer than the interval, does it matter? You're in the comfort of your own home. Nobody's judging you. We're here to improve our fitness and our strength. You can do it in your own time. So you can go with the guidance. Say if we're doing inchworms and we're going down and we're getting up and we're going down and we're doing it for 20 seconds, or if we're going down doing a push-up or whatever, does it matter how many you do? And does it matter if it takes a bit longer? You're going to be getting stronger. So that's the first thing that I would say. Or the alternative is you could just change the move. So you could do something a bit different. So if we're going down to the floor and we're going to do a push-up, you've got to think, okay, so what if they worked there? They've bent down, so they've worked their legs and their glutes and they're doing a push-up. What about if I do a squat and then I do a wall push-up? And this is something you could do temporarily. But you've got to have so much patience with yourself. So while you're on a weight loss journey, things can't happen overnight. And our strength and our mobility doesn't happen overnight. It's something that you've got to be patient with, and it's also something you need to be consistent with. So I would say if it's the knees that are hurting, if it's the knees when your knees are on the floor, making sure you've got a comfy surface. But if it's your knees as in your knee joints, what I would be saying is making sure that you are doing regular mobility. And, that's things like Pilates, for example, or yoga, or some stretch, just something to mobilize. And I would also say make sure you're doing some strength work. You might want to do the booty band. That's really good for improving the strength in the muscles that are around the knee joints. And also a bit of core strength with Pilates would really help with being more efficient at getting down to the ground, coming back up again, because we use our core a heck of a lot standing up and getting back down on the floor. So there are a few things. And I would just say stay consistent and have so much patience with your body while you're on this journey. That's really, really important. So have a look at your week overall, making sure that you've got a good balance of your workouts. Like I said, your mobility and your strengths in there, a bit of cardio. And in the meantime, you can adapt the moves or just take a little bit longer, and that's okay. That's absolutely fine. And find ways that for now that, say if you're down the floor, how can you transition up easier? What's best for you? Is it best to go into a down dog and walk your hands in? Or is it best to roll onto one side and push yourself up? Or is it best to have a bit of support? So have something you can grab onto nearby for now and just think, this is a temporary measure. I'm doing it for now, and that's okay because I'm trying my best. And that's what I would say for that one. But just keep at it, keep consistent. You will get there. You will. The problem I had after the walk in Morgos, I've seen the chiropractor and my hip flexors were so tight and shortened. So my plan is to strengthen them and of course stretch them. So what would be your go-to exercises for both? This is something we spoke about, wasn't it? So your hip flexors can quite often be really tight and shortened if you spend a lot of time sitting. So for example, if you have a desk job, so a lot of your time is spent at a desk, or if you are a runner, a walker, a cyclist, you can get really tight hip flexors that way as well. So there's so many reasons. Or if if the muscles in the back of your body aren't so strong and the muscles in the front of the body are super, super tight, it could be pulling on them and you could be tightening and not almost, say if you work strength in the back of your body, almost opening it back up and pulling it out. Anyway, I'm not a physio, I have to say that. So please make sure that you work with the medical professionals, so chiropractor and physios. If I were to say some general exercises that I think would be good for hip flexors, generally speaking, I would say things like sitting down on the floor. So obviously this is a podcast, but also a video where I can't really get on the floor. So just imagine, everybody picture this. Sit down on the floor. Bring your knees in towards your chest so they're just in front of you, like you're going to hug your knees. Stretch one of your legs out, flex the foot, and lift and lower that leg down. So you're straightening a leg out, lifting up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. The other leg, the other knee that's bent, don't worry about it. It's just we want one leg stretched out, pumping it up and down. That is going to strengthen your hip flexors. Another one is to almost march in place but put a little pause in. So bring one knee in, standing up, bring one knee in towards your chest, then release it down very slowly. And then you can do so many repetitions on one side, so 8-10 reps on one side, switch sides. The repetitions don't really matter so much, just it's more about the consistency of the fact that you're going and you're doing that on a regular basis, every day if you want to. Another thing could be band marches, so a resistance band, booty band, marching in place. So they're things to strengthen. Things to stretch them out. You've got a 90-90 stretch, so getting your knees in 90-90. You've got things like a psoas stretch. So you get down on one knee like you're going to propose to somebody. And then you squeeze your bottom and you tuck your pelvis underneath. And that stretches the front out. You could also do a lunge, like a low lunge, lengthen out the back leg as much as you can and sink down into it. But what I would say is do Yogascape. There's dedicated hip tracks in every single release. So I would be looking at doing booty band and Yogascape to strengthen and then to release the tension. How to combat negative self-image. Now, I was actually having a chat with a lovely squaddy about this today. Of course, I'm never going to name any names with any of these things. But I think it's a really, really relevant thing for particularly this time of year as well. When we've got Christmas parties or New Year parties coming up and we get dressed up all fancy and start to really bully ourselves here. Firstly, I just want to acknowledge that it's okay to not feel 100% about your body. I know there's a lot of body positivity, like love your body's amazing, never talk your body down. And it's okay to feel a little bit conscious about certain areas on your body. That's, it's normal. It's normal to not think that you're the next Beyonce or whatever. It's normal. But what isn't okay is if this negative body image stops us from enjoying our lives and the things that we want to do, then that's where it's not okay. And I think it's also not okay if we're not appreciating our body for what it does. I know that's really easy to say, but if you are somebody who can get up in the morning and choose whether they do the workout or not, depending on how they feel, that is a very nice position to be in. And your body allows you to do that. How amazing is that? So I firstly want to say that you've got to work with your body. You've got to work with your body and focus on the things that are amazing, that are really great about you. And also know that you are enough. You're enough. Because a lot of negative self-image comes from the fact that you don't feel like you're good enough. Good enough for who? Good enough for what? You are enough as you are, no matter what. And life is far too short. My mum quite often says, I'm not saying this is the best saying in the world, but she quite often says, look, Lorna, we're all going out in a box. Who cares what size it is? I mean, that is a terrible thing to say. But what I really think is important, it's not about what you look like. It's not about what you weigh. It's about the memories that you have while you're here and the impact that you make on other people's lives. And I think that is so, so important. So I just want you to know that you're enough. You're enough as you are. Now, with the self-image, I think the best thing to do is when you're feeling in this place where you do have a really negative self-image, flip the thought. So you might be thinking, oh, do you know what? I feel really uncomfortable in my clothes right now because maybe I'm holding the weight around, I don't know, around my tummy or around my thighs. that's where I'm holding my weight. I feel really uncomfortable about it and I just look rubbish and I shouldn't have had that takeaway last week or whatever it might be. Whereas what you want to say is flip that thought. Like, okay, I've showed up to class every day this week. I'm trying my best. I'm working on myself and my body allows me to get up in the morning and work out if I want to. Just shut that thought down. So reframing and flipping the thought. Flipping the thought is one thing. Another thing that you can do, and this is more of a, rather than being a quick fix, something that you could do over a long period of time is journaling. So writing down even just things that you're grateful for or things that you're proud of yourself for. Just one thing per day. And this accumulation of doing one thing per day is going to train the way that your brain thinks. So it's going to train the way that you think to be more positive and to actually seek the good. And you find 9.999999 times out of 10, people who train their brain in this way to seek the good, to work with themselves as opposed to against themselves and bullying themselves, actually get the results because they enjoy the journey. They allow themselves a little bit of what they want, but they enjoy the journey and they show up consistently because they enjoy it and they feel good and they're proud of themselves. So they're their own best cheerleader and they're the people who get results. So they actually get there faster. So not only are they winning because they're proud of themselves, they're showing up for themselves, they're being a good role model to their kids and, you know, showing you can have it all. You really can. And you can go out at the weekend and you can go out with your friends and enjoy it, but you can also stop when you're full and you can say things like, you know, I'm making this choice right now because it aligns with my goals. But do you know what? I'm going to choose to have the fill in the gap, the wine or the pudding, or I'm going to have the starter. And that's my choice. I always say, if you're on a weight loss journey and say if you're going out, the one thing, that's the one thing that I'm choosing today as like my treat, if you like. And I'm going to really enjoy that. And I'm going to stop at that. And you find that the people who do that, they allow themselves a bit of what they want. They're their own best cheerleader. They're proud of themselves. They're journaling. They're training the brain to seek out the good. They're the people who get results. The people who bully themselves and drag themselves down and say, why did you do that? I can't believe I ate that. Well, I might as well just eat the whole thing now. Nothing's working. Why am I not good enough? I hate how I look. And just end up being this awful, like negative black cloud and black space. And it's very hard to get out of that. So journaling can be a really useful thing to do. Also, surround yourself with positive influences, like positive people, positive, realistic people. So who is on your Instagram reel? Who is on your Facebook reel? Are they inspiring? Are they motivating? Or do you look at that and find yourself getting stuck in a comparison trap? Is it helpful? Who are you surrounding yourself with? And that's why groups like our squad are so amazing, because you are surrounded by people who are going to lift you up. And I say it a lot, but you're surrounded by people who are going to lift you up and support you no matter what here. And then, are you setting yourself realistic goals, or are you wanting everything to happen overnight? Be realistic with yourself. Start journaling. Flip the thought, reframe, and know that you are enough. It's going to take a lot of work, but know that you're enough. And doing some affirmations can be a useful thing too. It's not something that I do personally, but I know a lot of people who do affirmations. And then if you are really stuck in this space, consider talking to somebody. Even things like talking therapies or counselling to try and help you get out of this mindset. But the more you work with yourself, the easier everything's going to get, and the easier it'll be to combat negative self-image. You just got to realize you're enough. Easing joint pain post-exercise. Now, I have already spoken to this particular squaddy about this, and we just spoke about joint pain in general. Or if I just speak about that now, it's probably easier. So if you are somebody who struggles with joint pain, these are the things that you want to be focusing on. Like number one, dead easy, make sure that you're staying hydrated enough. You need to make sure that your joints are lubricated. Number two, you could look at things like inflammatory foods or a supplement like glucosamine or omega-3s. Make sure you're having leafy greens. Turmeric or ginger can be nice to add to things. You've also got oily fish. That can be great. Again, I'm going to be bringing out a list of anti-inflammatories, team, so stay tuned for this month's nutrition focus. Then make sure you're getting enough rest as well. So make sure that, yes, you are stimulating the body, you're stimulating the muscles and the bones, but make sure that you are getting enough rest so your body can recover from this. If you are getting, you're giving yourself rest days in between exercising, or you're doing a couple of rest days a week, or, you haven't changed much, then okay, fair enough. Just, it's something to think about. You could go low impact for a while, then taking any jumping out or high impact out. But what I would do on a regular basis is make sure you are doing regular strength training, things like stronger, upper lower body strength, controlled strength intervals, even hit with weights, booty band. Make sure you're including these in your week, and you're including some mobilization as well for the joints, like Pilates, yoga, or Yogascape, those types of workouts. Even things like Pilates can help improve joint pain in your knees. It can even improve pain in the back by improving your core strength. So just make sure that you're including some regular mobilization and strength work. Get enough rest. And you can try different foods or eating more of anti-inflammatory foods. But if it is something that is causing you a lot of bother, definitely going to see a medical professional about this. Final question: what is the best exercise to lose belly fat? Now, you can't choose where you lose fat on your body. So you can't pick an area on your body and say, I would like to lose fat from there, please. So it's called spot reducing, fat spot reduction. We can't actually do it because it's inbuilt in our genetics where we lose fat from first. But what we can do is make sure we are working the muscles in that area. So for example, doing regular Pilates, which is essentially a lot of core work, to build strength in that area. And then we can lose fat in general. And fat as in being excess energy. Put yourself in a moderate calorie deficit. So it's not a crazy one. We don't want to be in too much of a calorie deficit because one, it's not sustainable, and two, we don't want to be losing any lean muscle mass, which is what we will tap into if you're in a severe calorie deficit. So we want to make sure we put ourselves in a calorie deficit, so just eating a bit less, focus on the portion sizes and making sure, you're getting a good balance in there. And then doing regular Pilates, but really you want to be doing, if you're serious about this, you want to be making sure that you've got a good balance of workouts in there. And that's why we do strength cardio and holistic to get the full balance. So look at your week. Make sure you've got a couple of Pilates in there, even if they're just 10 or 15 minutes, they're in there. A couple of Pilates in there, you've got some strength, you've got some cardio. Now look at the diet, because this is where it's going to mainly come into it. Make sure that you've got a diet that is high in protein, basing every meal around your protein source. Make sure that you've got some leafy greens in there, some veggies, some salad. Make sure you're eating some fruit. Make sure you've got whole grains in there. And even start to look at things like that maybe cause you bloating. So a lot of people can feel, particularly actually perimenopausal women or menopausal, even a bit postmenopausal, you can feel really bloated by certain foods that didn't used to bloat you. So sometimes this feeling of belly fat can be exasperated with bloating. So maybe having a look at things that sit well in your body and things that maybe don't sit so well in your body. Stay super hydrated, and that is the best thing you can do. And then you will lose overall body fat, and the order that goes in and to what extent will depend on your genetics. So for example, you might lose loads on the arms, but not as much on the belly to start off with, and then eventually it will come off in that area. But moderate calorie deficit, and then work the muscles in that area to strengthen. I hope that helps everybody. And I just want to say, by the way, everyone does have a six-pack. It's your rectus abdominis. So even if you don't feel like you do, everyone has a six-pack. Now, I hope the Q&A has been useful. I love doing the Q&A team. I love being able to delve into your questions a little bit deeper. So I hope you've enjoyed that today. And any questions, anything at all, do let me know. And I'll be back next Tuesday with some more questions. And I will be posting a questions collection onto the Facebook group on Thursday. So stay tuned and watch out for that. Have a great week, everybody, and let's get to it. Let's get on it.